catch your breath after a tough 2-week stretch?
I think anytime there's a change of pace, a change of place, you pray that there's a change of perspective in a healthy way. I think our guys have been incredibly resilient through all that has transpired in the first semester, regardless of results. And I think our staff has been incredibly good at trying to find within all of our deficiencies margins and how we can improve. And then instead of just saying them, trying to find ways to measure them. And I think that similar to your question, like I think tonight was our 5th game of the month, and we're starting a different group again because we're still trying to figure out all of the different things. And so within these measurements, each practice, we're grading every practice like it's a game. So when we go in the film room today, we're talking about the game from last night so that we can accumulate some evidence of these measurements and pictures for our guys to see. And we continue to try to adapt and adjust some of the things we're doing defensively and just as many of the things that we're doing offensively. And sometimes they stick, sometimes they don't. But I think there has been some carryover despite the results over the last 3 weeks. And so to be able to start like that, it was encouraging on a lot of ways for them to see some of the things that we talk about, some of the pictures that we show, some of the measurements that we talk about in practice that we're acting like as a game, and then we're giving them those same measurements in timeouts, a lot of the things that are not seen on a stat sheet. And so the group is continuing to have positive trajectory.
How about what Isaiah gave you, particularly in the first half, and starting him for the first time? Was there something you saw during practice that kind of gave you an inclination maybe he should be starting?
The easy answer is we've tried everybody else. This guy, that guy, these two guys together. And I think a little bit of it, not being condescending at all, I think some of it is coming from what we're measuring every day, not just for Watts, but for everyone. And we post the grades and then go through the grades and then show them the clips of why that was their grade. And so I think Watts is really smart. He's from a basketball environment his whole life. And so he's able to take what I'm saying about him, but like other smart players, he's able to take what I'm saying about someone else and apply it to him. And so I'm not saying that group is the answer, but that group did accumulate more turkeys and more assists with less turnovers than any other group that we have played, whether they were healthy, not healthy, et cetera. So that's a good start.
This is Darius with Sirius XM.
Hey, Coach.
What channel?
Sirius XM Channel 84, College Sports. Hey, Coach, a lot of defensive sets, a lot of changes. What can you say about that by throwing a lot of different looks at the Old Dominion offense? You showed zone, you showed trap, you showed pressures, non-pressures. Can you just talk about that a little bit more and how it affected the game?
Well, we're still trying to add to the list. I don't know that we can do one thing great. We're trying to see maybe if we can accumulate enough things that we can do okay, and then throughout a game, if it's working, maybe just stick with it longer than we were planning. And so we've tried to account within the itinerary of practice, offensively and defensively. We call it discovery. And so some of the things that you saw tonight, we had never done. And so as a 12-minute defensive segment, kind of like a football practice, this is discovery defense. Here's a 12-minute offensive discovery. We're not going to be great at anything, can we have a Rolodex of things that if one thing is not working, okay, what's plan B? And then if plan B is all we need, then we'll just stay with that. And some of that is what we've learned from the previous 8-10 weeks. Some of that is because of the roster and all that's transpired, because some of what we were doing when Gochi was healthy, our kids know, but we're not doing now. Some of what we were doing when Solo was out, we know, but we've made changes since Solo's back. So some of it is kind of a hodgepodge, and then some of what we've learned from that is, okay, well, let's try this. And so Christmas night, we got back going, and so we've had 3 discovery segments, and then we tried some of them tonight, and some of them look good, and some of them we'll need to keep working on probably.
Ed, in the back.
Buzz, first half, 10 of 19 from three-point range, and then 1 of 10 second half. What did you like about the first half, and what didn't you like about the second half?
Specific to the shots, I think we had 14 baskets in the first half, and 12 of them were assisted on 2 turnovers. I'm happy that they were threes or the percentage. I was more happy with the type of 3 that it was. Not that it was assisted, but how did it get to that point? I thought we did a much better job of getting the defense in rotation that led to an uncontested shot and or a one more pass. And I thought in the second half, we turned it over 6 times. In some of our games, we would be happy with 6 turnovers. But some of the threes we shot in the second half were not the same types of threes. And so I think the percentage says, from my studies, when the ball comes inside out and the shooter is going to catch it with 10 toes to the rim, they're going to shoot a higher percentage. Typically, it's 20 to 25% more when the ball's coming inside out, because that's how you practice. Here, I'm going to throw it to you, shoot it. But if the ball's coming right to left and you're playing east and west, doesn't mean you're not going to make it. You're just not going to make as high of a percentage. And I thought in the second half, we took more of those.
This game wraps up your non-conference portion of the schedule.
What a journey.
I'm curious, everything is heightened once you get into the Big Ten. What do you want to see from your guys heading into Big Ten portion of your schedule?
8 games in November is as many as you can play, and 4 games before Christmas is as few as you can play. The one thing that I would say is I'm not talking about the health of our team. I'm talking about what's transpired relative to some of the traction on some of these questions we're talking about. I think we've had growth. And to your point, the next 10 weeks are going to be heavier than the last 10 weeks, regardless of the health of our roster. And so how can we increase our endurance physically, which all teams will as the game shortens? How can we increase our endurance mentally? Because we're going to have multiple things that we're going to have to be able to execute, to his question. And so mentally, you have to be able to go from this thing to the next thing and still be able to execute. And then emotionally, how can our endurance increase as it gets heavier? I think it's 18 conference games left, and 9 are at home, 9 are on the road. And so we'll plan the month of January tomorrow. Tomorrow is our team's off day. And so we have a calendar meeting to plan the month. And I know that this is the first time in my career where the timing of your games can be any day of the week. And so I want to give some thought to your question on how are we going to manage. Is there 2 days in between games? Is there 5 days in between games? Are we on this side of the country? Are we on the other side of the country? So we're going to meet as a staff other than just the group that normally helps me with the calendar, because I think we have to be thoughtful in how we manage our emotions, how we manage mentally, how we manage physically, because 10 weeks, 18 games, that's a lot for every team, specifically us.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.